One evening, my friend Sarah called me, her voice filled with frustration. She had been dating a guy for months, and on paper, everything was perfect. He was successful, good-looking, and always treated her well, but something felt off. "He's there, but not really there," she sighed. "It's like, I have his attention, but not his heart." She did everything right, she looked amazing, planned thoughtful dates, and was always supportive. But deep down, she could feel it. He wasn't emotionally hooked on her the way she wanted him to be. And Sarah's not alone. So many women think attraction is just about looks, chemistry, or even being the perfect girlfriend. But what they don't realize is that men have emotional turn-ons that go way beyond physical attraction. These hidden emotional triggers make a man obsessed, not just in the moment, but in a way that makes him see you as irreplaceable. So what was Sarah missing? Why wasn't he fully drawn to her despite everything being perfect? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know the 4 emotional turn-ons that make a man deeply emotionally hooked. And once you do, you'll never have to wonder where you stand in a man's heart again.
Let's dive in.
1. The magnetic contrast. Most women assume that men are either drawn to sweet, nurturing women or bold, independent ones. But the truth? It's the contrast that captivates them. A woman who is both soft and strong, feminine yet assertive, nurturing yet independent. This creates a dynamic energy that keeps a man emotionally hooked. Why? Because contrast keeps him intrigued. When a woman embodies both sides of the spectrum, she becomes a mystery he can't quite figure out, and that is addictive. Think about it. A woman who is only gentle and nurturing might come across as predictable or even passive over time. On the other hand, a woman who is only strong and independent may seem emotionally distant or unapproachable. But a woman who can switch effortlessly between the two, that's the kind of woman who keeps a man's emotions fully engaged. Let's take an example. Imagine a woman who can confidently challenge a man's ideas during a deep conversation, sparking his intellect and pushing him to think in new ways. But then, later that evening, she can also rest her head on his shoulder and allow herself to be held, creating a moment of tenderness and warmth. That duality makes a man feel alive in the relationship. He feels the spark of excitement when she playfully teases him, but he also feels the safety of knowing that when life gets tough, she can be his rock. So if you want to trigger a man's deepest emotional attraction, embrace the contrast within yourself. Be strong, but show your softness. Be independent, but allow yourself to be cared for. Be confident, but don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Because when a man sees that you have both sides, that you're not just one thing, but a whole spectrum of energy and emotion, he won't just be interested, he'll be addicted. And that's just the first emotional turn-on. The next one, it's something most women overlook, but it's one of the biggest ways to make a man feel truly connected to you. Stay with me. 2. The unapologetic passion effect. There's something irresistibly magnetic about a woman who radiates passion. Not for a man, not for a relationship, but for something that lights her up from the inside out. Men are drawn to women who have a fire within them, whether it's for their work, a hobby, a creative pursuit, or a personal goal. Because it signals that she is a force of nature, not just an accessory to his life. Why is this so powerful? Because passion is contagious. A woman who comes alive when talking about the book she's writing, the business she's building, or the dance class she loves attending brings energy into his life. She's dynamic, inspiring, and full of a kind of enthusiasm that makes him want to be around her more. Now contrast this with a woman who only focuses on him. She's agreeable, accommodating, and always available, but there's no fire behind her eyes. She may be kind and loving, but something's missing, her own personal spark. And that's what men secretly crave. A woman who makes them feel like they're witnessing something rare, something exciting. Picture this, A man goes on a date with two different women. The first woman is lovely, polite, and interested in him, but when he asks about her interests, she just shrugs and says, "I don't know, I just kind of go with the flow." She's sweet, but there's nothing pulling him in. Now the second woman, her face lights up when she talks about the pottery class she just started. She laughs as she shares how terrible she was at first, but how much she loves the creative process. She gets animated when talking about her dream of traveling to Italy, learning the language, and experiencing the culture firsthand. Who do you think he'll remember? Men don't just want beauty or kindness. They want to be inspired. They want to feel the spark of being around someone who is driven by something, because that energy is intoxicating. And here's the secret. You don't have to have a big passion. It's not about being an entrepreneur or having a world-changing mission. It's about having something that excites you, something that you talk about with a sparkle in your eye. It could be painting, hiking, cooking, writing, yoga, or even collecting vintage records. What matters is the energy you bring when you talk about it. When a man sees that you have a life full of passion, he doesn't just see a woman, he sees a world he wants to be part of. And that's a level of attraction deeper than anything physical. 3. The emotional reset effect. Life is demanding, and men, just like women, face pressure, stress, and moments of self-doubt. The difference? Most men don't know how to emotionally reset. They either suppress their stress, distract themselves, or isolate, believing they have to handle everything on their own. But when a woman has the ability to shift his emotional state effortlessly, she becomes someone he needs in his life, not just someone he wants. This isn't about fixing his problems or giving him endless pep talks. It's about knowing when to pull him out of his head and into the moment. When a man is stressed, the last thing he wants is to be forced into a deep emotional conversation about it. But what does hook him on a deep level is a woman who knows how to be his emotional escape, his reset button. Imagine this. He's had a brutal day at work, tension in his shoulders, his mind racing. He walks in, and instead of asking what's wrong or pushing him to talk about it, you simply walk up, wrap your arms around him, and whisper, "Let's go get ice cream. My treat." At that moment, you're doing something powerful. You're offering him relief without demanding anything from him. That simple, lighthearted shift is like a mental and emotional breath of fresh air. And over time, he begins to associate you with that feeling of emotional peace. The truth is, men aren't always great at handling emotional overwhelm. But when a woman knows how to ground him, whether through humor, a playful distraction, or a simple moment of affection, she becomes irreplaceable in his life. This doesn't mean you should always be the one managing his emotions, but it does mean that when you can sense his stress and shift the energy without making it a big deal, you create a bond that's deeper than attraction. Here's the key: it has to feel natural, not forced. If you try too hard to be his escape, it might come across as overbearing. But when it's effortless, when you simply know when to pull him out of his own head, it becomes one of the most powerful emotional connections he'll ever feel. Because in a world that constantly demands so much from him, you become the one place where he can just breathe. And once a man experiences that kind of emotional reset with you, he'll never want to lose it. 4. The art of being an unpredictable, safe space. Men crave emotional safety just as much as women do. But here's the twist. What truly hooks a man is when a woman makes him feel secure in a way he never saw coming. He expects support from his friends, he knows his family has his back, but what he doesn't expect is for a woman to see him at his lowest, when he's doubting himself, when he's failed, when he's unsure of who he is, and still look at him like he's enough. Most women admire men when they're winning. They love the confident, ambitious, go-getter side of him. But what makes a man emotionally addicted to a woman? When she sees him struggling and doesn't pull away. When she doesn't judge him, criticize him, or make him feel like less of a man. Instead, she stays. She reminds him of his worth, not by fixing his problems for him, but by making it clear that his value isn't tied to his success. Imagine a man who's always seen as the strong one, the provider, the leader. He's used to people expecting him to have it all together. But then he has a moment of doubt. Maybe he's failing in his career, maybe he's unsure of himself as a man. In that moment, a lot of women might respond with, "Don't worry, you'll figure it out." But the woman who truly gets him, she says something different. She doesn't just reassure him. She sees him in his struggle. Maybe she tells him, "I know you're frustrated right now, and that's okay, but I also know the kind of man you are. You always find a way. And even if you didn't, I'd still be here." That unpredictable safe space is something most men rarely experience, and when a woman gives him that, it hits deeper than any physical attraction ever could. Because in a world that only celebrates his highs, you're the one who makes his lows feel bearable. And once a man experiences that, he won't just want you, he'll need you. So now let's go back to the question we started with. What was Sarah missing? She was doing everything right, but she wasn't igniting anything in him emotionally. She was showing up in the relationship, but she wasn't showing up as a woman who made him feel something real. And that's the key. Men don't fall in love with a checklist, they fall in love with the way a woman makes them feel. If you can embody these 4 emotional turn-ons, you won't just be someone he's interested in, you'll be someone he can't forget. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.